What if I said that this ring is more powerful than any other ring in the game? You would think I'm stupid, right? Well, you're correct, I am stupid, but that's beside the point. I genuinely think when it comes to damage per second, this ring outshines all the other rings in the game. Let me explain. In old school RuneScape there are a total of 7 transformation rings and their entire purpose is that your character will resemble some kind of object. For example, the Ring of Nature makes you into a bush. Fun, right? Since they provide no combat bonuses and in fact can't even be equipped, they for the most part serve no meaningful purpose. Until a few players found out that you can cancel bosses' special attacks with these rings. So a good example where these rings are heavily used is Arachnis during her spider gum attack. In this clip you can see I use the Easter egg and the web stays on the floor despite me moving away from it. The ring completely cancels the special attack and saves me about 2 seconds. During one KC of Arachnis this can happen up to like 5 or 6 times, saving you extra 10 seconds per kill. This is a monumental time save for players who are looking to hunt clue scrolls or just want the pet. It is estimated that if you do this to perfection, it's up to 30% increase in kills. Now, I personally enjoy using Ring of Stone the most because it felt the best to me. This does require some skill, you have to be pretty precise because you have like 0.6 seconds to react, and if you miss the perfect timing it doesn't really work. Like I said, I use Ring of Stone mostly, but all transformation rings work, so you don't have to spend 20 million GP to buy a ring of coins. You can just go to Diango and get the Easter ring or the Great Ring or the Snowman ring for free. Now, I only showcased this for Arachnis, but this does have so many different uses in so many different bosses. Let me show you another example where this might be needed. Welcome to Hespori, where the only real mechanic is the boss rooting you into the ground and you have to click away to free yourself. Well, once again, using the revolutionary mechanic from transformation rings, you can skip this entirely. Now you might be asking, why is this useful here? Does it really matter if you can kill Hespori faster? Well, yes and no. Number one is to prove that the ring tech works in more than one boss, which later on I am gonna show you other bosses as well. And number two, there are actually a few speedrun combat achievements for Hespori, and saving those precious seconds could be the difference. For comparison, if you put the two methods side by side, you save up to almost 4 seconds per KC, which is a massive win if you're hunting for combat achievements. My favorite method for this, however, is Vorkut. One of the main reasons why players die here is because in one of the Vorkut special attacks, you are frozen in place, and a zombie bug is coming at you. If you use the ring at the right moment at the right time, you are no longer frozen and you can just run away. This has two uses. Number one, you can just ignore the zombie bug entirely and keep running until it despawns. And secondly, once again, there are combat achievements involved with this. One of them is doing the perfect Vorkut KC and not taking any damage from special attacks, and the other one is specifically killing the zombie bug without using Crumble Undead spell. Also, every time I do a Vorkut, I get extremely annoyed when I click my Crumble Undead spell and I just blatantly take 60 damage to the face. The click box is so freaking small and I am old, which means my eyesight is slowly going away. However, with this ring method, I can completely neglect that. Now, you can run away like I do because I'm a bad player, but you can also run towards it and kill it faster, which again, it saves time. The idea here is that if a boss has a mechanic where they quotation mark entangle you, there is a way now to dodge that with the ring method. And there are so many bosses in the game that have this mechanic. One thing I've seen people talk about is Versik and the web attack, but I don't think you want to bring the ring tech here anyways. I would rather have that inventory spot for extra brew or restore. If you know what you're doing here, you should never get stuck anyways. And if you don't know what you're doing, this is one of the easiest mechanics to learn for DOP. Also, I tested it out in Skeletor Wyverns, and when I tried to use the ring, it said I can't use the ring while bound by magic, which makes me think this attack is coded differently than the previous ones, because the same thing happened when I went to try out Duke's Achilles. Exactly the same message popped up saying I can't use it here, which also makes me think that these two share the same attack mechanic. I haven't tested this out in few other bosses, but I know that Kriya Ra and God Wars has a stun method. I know that Vasa in Chambers of Serik pulls you in at the start of the fight. Also Slayer bosses like Abyssal Sire, Grotesque Guardians. I know during Nexus first phase there is a drag special attack that pulls a random player in and stuns them. And also this has been tested and confirmed that you can use it during Vasani Nightmare on the Husk spawn. You get unfrozen and you also neglect the attack. I mean, you get my point. I feel like the potential of this method hasn't been discovered to the fullest yet. And if Jagex does decide to keep it in the game, this could be one of the main mechanics in the future for most bosses. Also, you have to admit, Ring of Stone is like the perfect item to do this with because the thematic fits so well into this. You turn into a stone, which means spells have no effect on you. Almost like every magic book ever made. Now, the question here is simple. Is this bug abuse or not? Well, first of all, this is major bug abuse because Arachnis doesn't stand a chance against me. That's a little dad joke for my fellow dads out there. Secondly, yes, I think this is bug abuse. For now, hear me out. If you go to Jagex's homepage and under the rules of old school RuneScape and specifically exploiting a bug, there is a line that says this. It is against the rules to do the following with bad intent. Testing unusual practices and sequences of action to make the game respond in an unintended way. The reason why I brought this line out specifically is because tick manipulation used to go under this exact same rule. It was bug abuse and not the intended way to play the game. However, as the years passed by, tick manipulation slowly lost its meaning as bug abuse and became a core game mechanic. In 2024, basically the entire game now revolves around 100 beats per minute, which aka is 0.6 seconds per one tick. Every boss, every skill, every mechanic, usually the best methods are tick manipulation. The other argument here is that morphing is actually a legitimate game mechanic already implemented in a lot of games. Magic the Gathering, Minecraft, Fable, certain mobile games, it's a legit thing, just like with every other game mechanic. You use your skill to dodge boss attacks. It's that simple. Now my question is, and actually I want you guys to tell me as well, leave a comment down below, do you think this is right or not? Is this something that even though by definition goes under bug abuse, it might actually be one of the cooler game mechanics we had in a long time? Because just like that, this also requires precise timing and you need to learn the mechanic in order to perfect it. If you click the ring too late, you're gonna miss the timing. If you click it too early, the same thing happens. It's not just me click, me happy, ooga booga. Sounds familiar, right? Anyone who has done 1.5 tick woodcutting or 3 tick granite mining knows exactly what I'm talking about. The matter of the fact is, this has been in the game for almost 20 years actually. There are even news posts going back to 2006 when Jagex said that they are planning to fix Ring of Stone because apparently even back then people were already using this method in Blast Furnace minigame. So this is something that's literally been in the game for almost 20 years, which firstly blows my mind that to this day we still find new mechanics and interesting ways to speed up the process of the game. Honestly, there probably is something else monumental that players have not discovered yet, and I am all for it. And secondly, if this has been in the game for almost 2 decades, is it really worth for Jagex to panic now and start fixing it? Most things that used to be bugs are now considered game features. Good example is freezing the dark core in Corporeal Beast, or doing red X during Baba in Dooms of a Mascot, or even something as old as time itself, prayer flicking. Technically, you're not supposed to be able to bypass the tick of losing prayer points, but it became so common and so well known that Jagex just decided to say, fuck it. Let's make it a game mechanic now, and you even have combat achievements in the game that require you to use this method. One example is completing the entire fight caves without losing a single prayer point. The only way to do that combat achievement is through prayer flicking, aka you're technically bug abusing if we go back to the previous picture I showcased. So at the end of the day, all of this is very gray area, and Jagex intentionally makes the rules very vague so they can clarify them how they see fit. For me, I genuinely think this ring method should be a game mechanic as well. Because again, it actually takes skill to master this, and for the most part is used at bosses that are already like almost 5 years old. But what I would do is fix the current transformation rings so it can't be done with those options and instead bring a new item into the game, aka the boss does a special attack and you use the item to counter that attack. This mechanic has been used for years in other games already. I don't see why it couldn't come to old school RuneScape. Now, you could also bring in an argument, and it's a very valid argument, that you are completely skipping an entire mechanic of a boss with this method, which again, I don't think this is intended. Like, Espori only has one major mechanic, and that is that you have to free yourself from roots. With the rings, you can skip that mechanic. This would also mean that in the future, Jagex essentially can't allow bosses to have entangle mechanics in place. Or I guess they can, but players have a way to counter that mechanic now. Anyways, what do you think? Should this ring method be treated as another game mechanic like tick manipulation and prayer flicking? Or is this too much and we're crossing the line here? If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. I love you all very much. Bye.